We are finally able to get a first taste of the Ather Rizta, and today we'll tell you what this family scooter is like to ride. Let's dive right into what the Ather Rizta is like to ride, because that's about the only thing we haven't been able to tell you about yet. Ather claims that the 452 are meant to excite you when you ride them, but the Rizta is meant to relax you, calm you down, make you ride in a gentler, more serene manner. If you ask me, that's more befitting of the family scooter persona. In our time with it today, those claims have proven to be largely true. The Rizta does not feel as light and reactive as the sporty 450 models, but has a sense of sure-footedness that's missing in the other two. That's quite commendable on Ather's part, because most of the componentry is shared between the lineup. In its fastest zip mode, I managed to hit a speedo indicated 82 kph on the Ather Rizta today. Although the acceleration here is nowhere close to the 450 lineup in their sport mode, let alone warp. However, that is right around the ballpark of the TVS iQube, and in our experience with it, that scooter feels plenty quick. This is my first time experiencing Ather's Magic Twist regenerative braking system, and I found the system to be quite intuitive almost right off the get-go. This system debuted first on the 450 Apex, and here Ather tells us that it's been tuned to sit between the high and low modes that you'd find over there. In fact, at speeds below 50 kph, you can reasonably quickly slow down the scooter using just the regenerative braking system. Despite the change to a rear drum brake, it's still not very difficult to lock up the Rizta's rear wheel. The brake feels quite strong, and in tandem with the Magic Twist regenerative braking system, a hard tug at the lever will lock the rear quite easily. Ride comfort too is at an impressive level here. Although the suspension at its core is very similar to the 450, it has been retuned for work on the Rizta. Even on the harshest of bumps that I could find today riding around Nandi Hills in Bangalore, the Rizta managed to shield me from all of them, and it never once kicked me off the seat. It remains to be seen how this suspension performs at home base in Bombay, where the roads are in far poorer shape, but today there is precious little to complain about on the suspension front. However, one problem that still continues over from the 450 is that the handlebar will foul with your knees while going from lock to lock. At 5'11", I am taller than the average Indian male, so if you are a taller rider that avoided the 450 for this very reason, I'm sorry, but that still continues here. However, the flatter seat does help alleviate that issue, and it's nowhere near as bad as on the 450s. The Rizta uses the same motor as the 450, but the peak output is lower and power delivery is gentler. In fact, it has 15 degrees of gradability compared to 20 on the 450s. This can affect you if you stay in a region that's predominantly hilly, especially in the Smart Eco mode. Zip feels very zippy, and I think you'll be able to comfortably keep pace with or even go quicker than big city traffic should you choose. The Rizta is also the first Ather after the Apex to get a cover for the belt drive. Despite this, the Rizta's motor is still a little bit noisy, although it's not as loud as the unit on the 450s. The Rizta is also the first electric scooter on sale in India to debut a traction control system. On today's ride, I tried my hardest to get the system to kick in while in zip mode on multiple occasions, but it only intervened once over some very large and loose pebbles. Smart Eco has such gentle power delivery that unless you're riding over something like an oil spill, you will never need that helping hand. Comfort is a crucial element when it comes to an urban runabout that will be ridden by multiple members of the family with differing builds and riding styles. I'm happy to say that the Rizta fares impressively well in this regard as well. The seat, for instance, it's quite well padded and long, but it's not ultra soft, which in my experience has proved to be a good thing, because that stops you from sinking into the hard seat base underneath. The ergonomics too on the Ather Rizta are almost spot on, and by and large most people should be able to get along with it just fine. To give you some context, our videographer Roshni is 5'3", one of the shortest people in the Autocar office. She rides a Honda Activa as her daily, and when she took a small spin on the Rizta, she said she found the front to be a little bit heavy, but it's nothing that's a deal breaker and she could easily live with it on a day-to-day basis. Now Ather has made a big brouhaha about how this is the longest seat in the class and so on and so forth, and to demonstrate that point, I'm going to call our photographer Kuldeep. As you can see, Two full-grown adults that are taller than the average Indian male are seated in more than reasonable comfort over here, so it shouldn't be a problem for most people in most scenarios. However, it is worth mentioning at this point that the backrest you see here is standard only on the two Z variants and is an optional extra on the lowest S variant of the Rizta. We were riding the Rizta Z 2.9, which has a claimed true range of 105 km on a single charge. When we got the scooter, it was at 79% SOC, which showed 77 km of range in the Smart Eco mode. With the mixed riding we did over the course of our shoot utilizing both the modes, we were on course to cover about 63 km. We'll verify the Rizta's range once we get it tested back in Mumbai, but by and large, what Ather claims for true range is what you should get out in the real world. One of the nice things I noticed today was that the Rizta's charging port flap is spring-loaded, which removes the worry of leaving it open in a dusty or rainy environment. The Rizta's 34-litre boot isn't the largest in the electric scooter game today, but it is still quite large. As you can see, my full-face AGV helmet that's outfitted with a bulky Sena Bluetooth intercom fits in, and there is still a lot of room to spare. There's also a small cubby just aft of the boot where you can store small knickknacks like your phone, charger, etc. Additionally, Ather has also given us this handy accessory organizer which allows you to conveniently carry your luggage from the scooter to the house. It is worth mentioning though that with this accessory organizer, my helmet only fits in the middle section where the boot is the widest and not at the ends where it is a little narrower. One thing you need to bear in mind about this boot is that its surface isn't flat like you'll see on the Ola or the TVS iQube, and it has a noticeable bulge at the bottom. As is typical with all things Ather, a great deal of technology is baked into the product. The Rizta Z 2.9 we were riding today was also outfitted with the Pro Pack, which gives you access to the Smart Eco mode as well as Magic Twist, skid control, the Bluetooth connectivity functions, 5-year battery warranty and much more. The dash can be paired to your smartphone via the Ather app, and this allows you to control music playback, accept or reject calls, receive navigation alerts, and even check your 5 most recent WhatsApp messages. There is even an Alexa Smart Assist feature by which you can track the location of your Rizta from within the safety of your home. If you look at the Rizta from the front, you can't help but notice the similarities to the TVS iQube, a scooter that has achieved tremendous success in the Indian market. The company may have done so in the hope that customers will see the familiar face and be drawn to Ather showrooms. The rear, however, is very funky, totally unique, and I for one like it. The top Z variants of the Rizta get 7 dual-tone color options, while the base S variant gets 3 single-tone color options. Design is of course subjective, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Rizta in the comments below. The mirror stocks are a little simpler on the Rizta compared to the 450 models. Here you'll get a simple tubular structure in place of the nice aluminium units from the sportier Athers. By this point, you've probably come to know that the Rizta has precious few chinks in its armor. I think the biggest thing it has going for it is that the fundamentals are all tried and tested for many years and many lakhs of kilometers on the 450 platform. That effectively means that no Rizta owner will have to face any teething problems when it comes to the core components. At its introductory price, the Rizta ranges somewhere between 1.10 lakh and 1.45 lakh. That puts it about on par with comparable offerings from TVS and Bajaj. If my memory serves me, the Rizta is a little more spacious than the other two, but those aren't really very cramped offerings to begin with. If you are someone that has always valued the slickness and the sophistication of the 450's user experience, then I feel the Rizta plugs that hole neatly in Ather's lineup because it is spacious, comfortable and more practical while bringing most of the core strength of the 450 forward. It's still very early days to say if this will become India's ubiquitous family scooter, but I for one feel it has the fundamentals to do so. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave us a like and share it with your friends and family. Please remember to subscribe to the Autocar India YouTube channel with notifications. Thank you.